Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about number 208, Before Sunrise, which is a drama romantic film from 1995. And it has an 8.1 on 234,968 votes. Went up 6 votes from the time I did my notes about an hour ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So the spoiler-free synopsis. On his way to Vienna, Jesse meets Celine, a student returning to Paris. After long conversations forge a surprising connection between them, Jesse convinces Celine to get off the train with him in Vienna. Since his flight to the U.S. departs the next morning and he has no money for lodging, they wander the city together, taking in the experiences of Vienna and each other. As the night progresses, their bond makes separating in the morning a difficult choice.
Alright, so this is directed by Richard Linklater. He's also directed the second one and the third one in this trilogy.
Yep.
We had Before Sunset earlier on the list, which was number 246.
Okay.
He's also directed Dazed and Confused, School of Rock, and Boyhood.
Yep.
And this stars Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy, and, well, those are really the two main characters, I mean.
Yeah.
Can't really tell anyone else.
Yeah. So, the ratings, for IMDb, I already said that it had an 8.1. 30.3% of users rated this at an 8. So the rest were either above or below that, obviously. But the older the people that like voted on it and watched it and stuff, the lower the rating got.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can.
I really
too.
can.
So Metacritic is a 77, and then Rotten Tomatoes has 100% of 43 critical reviews. So all the critics that watched it and reviewed it did like it. So 2 of the fresh, Dan Chazin. The films have always been about marvels and limitations of impersonation. Since behind Jesse and Celine, we see Hawke and Delpy, celebrities whose stars were bright already in the first film and have intensified owing partly to this series. That one doesn't really make sense.
No, it doesn't.
I didn't read that one. I just copied the first 2 I found.
Okay.
My bad. I should have
good.
read it. Derek Adams. There's a vulnerable undercurrent beneath this film, one that beats and throbs with the stolen looks, brief touches, and romantic under-the-stars kisses.
That's all I gotta say.
I mean, I kind of agree. They do, like, the way the conversation and all that progresses, they are very vulnerable and, like, opening themselves up to each other. But that's the point of this movie. So.
Yes, a lot of talking.
So the consensus, thought-provoking and beautifully filmed, Before Sunrise is an intelligent, unabashedly romantic look at modern love, led by marvelously natural performances from Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy.
Okay.
And so I did like their performances because it did make it seem like they were just talking to each other. Like, even though this is a fully scripted and nothing is improv, it does seem like they are just naturally having those conversations. Well, this entire long-ass conversation, that's an hour and 45 minutes.
That's all they do.
Yeah. So the income... The budget for this film was $2.5 million. its opening weekend, it made $1,423,537. The domestic gross for this film was $5,535,405. And worldwide, over the years, not specifically when it was in theaters, but like over the years in different theaters, because it didn't open immediately. It only opened immediately in America. It didn't open immediately everywhere else. But worldwide, it made $17,200,000. And that's a guesstimate. It's not an accurate 100% spot on number. The highest all-time rank it hit March 7th of 1995 was 1,912.
So same year it came out.
Yep.
Like,
I think just like... So the awards, it only won one award. The Berlin International Film Festival, it won Best Director. And that's it.
Okay, I can see the one.
Yeah, I mean, the directing of this one wasn't bad.
No, I'll give him that. Because he's a decent director. Just, yeah.
So, what did you think? Because didn't you watch this before, you watched before sunset when we had to watch it before?
Yes, I watched this one and I watched Before Sunset. And I didn't like it. I'm okay with romance films. I really am. But this one was just a bunch of talking for like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work for me. That doesn't. That's really boring. And I don't get how people like it. I really don't. And I was like, I remember further back on our list when we did the Three Colors, and she was in this film, one of those films. I was like, oh, thank God, payback for Before Sunset, Before Sunrise. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I didn't really like it the first time that I watched it, and then I watched the whole trilogy, and now that I've gone back after watching the whole trilogy, I liked it a little bit more, just because I know, like, the whole story, and I'm like, well, the second one was meh, and then the third one I was just like, absolutely not, that one's completely horrible and pointless. But this one, after watching the other two, it's a little bit better to me after seeing the whole trilogy, but it's still not, like, my favorite movie.
Oh, no.
Like, it's still not even up there in the good movies. So
it's not even... I mean, this is better than Hachi, for me.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
This one, to me, is better than the second one, better than Hachi, so...
Yeah. I'll give it that.
Okay. I think that's all for initial thoughts.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Alright, that was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening and come back after you've watched it. So, we already did the first one, or the second one of this, so it's basically the same thing.
Same premise, pretty much. Just a different city, and they're a little bit younger.
And this is the first time they meet instead of the second, like when they get to meet again.
Yeah.
So this one, we see train tracks and the countryside and everything, and obviously you realize that these people are on the train.
Yep, riding the train.
And first we see this couple, like, arguing in German.
Yeah.
Except for, I've heard people argue in German, and it doesn't sound like that. It sounds a lot more harsh to me, so I don't know. I just felt like that was a little bit underdone.
Yeah. I mean, German just itself as a language sounds really harsh, but it really isn't. But it sounds it.
Yeah, it sounds really harsh. It's not really harsh, but it sounds harsh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we see this woman and she is sitting next to this couple that's arguing. And then we kind of pan and see a bunch of the other people that are on the train. And then we see the woman get up and move because she doesn't want to listen to these people argue. But then as soon as she gets up and moves and finds another seat, the couple gets up and leaves for a minute. And they do come back. But so this guy that she ended up sitting right, like, in the aisle opposite, like, they're in the same row, but just on the other side of the aisle. He asked her, do you have any idea what they were arguing about? And she goes, no, not really. My German's not that good. So that's where we find out that they were speaking German. Because there was a couple phrases that they used that sounded French. So I was, like, really confused as to what language they were actually speaking until she said German.
Yeah. I can see the confusion. I can.
But then they start talking and everything, and they're kind of getting to know each other and, like, knowing, like, what they're doing and everything. And so they get to the station in Vienna, and Jesse, we learn his name as he gets off the train. His name is Jesse.
He's trying to get back to the U.S.
Yeah. His flight is in the morning.
Yes.
Like the next day. Not that same day, but the next day. So he has some time. And he convinces her to get off of the train with him.
Yeah, because she was going back to Paris. Because she is French.
Well, and she is going to school in Paris, is what she said.
Yeah.
But they get off the train and everything. And it's funny, they don't even introduce themselves to each other until after they get off the train. So they've already been talking for probably a good hour or so. I mean, we don't see the full hour, but my guess is they've probably been talking for about an hour or so, and then they get off the train. And they finally introduce themselves. Like, when I meet someone and I'm talking to them, I pretty much, like, if I am planning on talking to them for a long time, I'll introduce myself.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I'm like, what is this? Come on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna just go and talk to this person for a good hour and then get off the train and not introduce myself before I get off the train. Like, what? But, so, they are kind of walking around and they're trying to figure out what they can do in Vienna because they, I'm guessing, have never been there.
Yeah.
Neither of them have. But so they come across these two guys and they're asking him, like, what there is to do in Vienna. And he's like, well, nothing really.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are people that have never been to Vienna and you're going to tell them there's nothing really to do. Like, even if it's the smallest town in the world, there is something to do near where you are. Just come up with something. Just because you've done it a million times doesn't mean there's nothing to do.
That would just being, like, snarky and just not being very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you could sense they're tourists, but still.
Yeah. But so these two guys, like, start going on and on about their play that they're in. And one of them is a cow in this play. And it sounds like, honestly, I was thinking while they were describing this play, I was like, I would honestly rather watch that as a movie than this.
That's what I thought too, actually. I really did. I was like, now that would be interesting to see.
Because it was just the most ridiculous things you could possibly think of.
Exactly.
But yeah, so they walk away from the guys and everything, trying to figure out what they're going to do. And they start kind of playing 20 questions, where one of them will ask a question, the other one has to answer, and then it's the other one's turn. Yeah. And they just kind of go back and forth. Lots
of talking.
Yep. They end up in a record shop. And they take some of them. They take one into the listening booth and listen to one. And they're literally just, like, traveling all across Vienna. Like, yeah. Just all over the place. They get to this little park thing, and actually, I think Celine, that's the girl's name, I think she had been there before, because remember they got to that one little park, and she said, oh, I remember coming here. She said it's different now. She did make that remark. So she had been there before, but I think she was younger, like a kid.
And was it when she went with her grandma?
Yeah, she said she went with her grandma, I think.
See, that makes sense.
Then they're in, like, I don't know what it is they're in. It kind of seemed like an overlook of the city, kind of. They're up there looking at everything, and they kiss. Except for Jesse is, like, really awkward about it. He's like, well,
it's Ethan Hawke. What do you expect? I'm sorry. We all know this already. If you've been listening, I don't like Ethan Hawke very much.
Yeah. But then they go to an arcade, and they're, like, hanging out in the arcade and everything. And they literally, during this whole entire movie, are just having conversations about... Like, when you first meet someone, you just have conversations about your life and their life and everything. And that's literally what the conversation is almost this entire time.
Yeah, pretty much just getting to know each other in, like, a span of a night.
Yeah. Then they're out at this little cafe, and they see a palm reader reading other people's hands. And, she walks over and offers Celine, so I'll read your palm for, like, 50 shillings or something like that.
Something.
And Jesse's just kind of like, it's not real. Like, you can just say this old woman saves up all her money to go to the palm reader, and the palm reader's like, every day of your life will be just like this one. Like, yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't believe in palm readers or hypnosis or anything like that, but that's just me.
I know.
Then they are, like, in a church or walking by a church, and their conversation switches to religion for, like, not very long, because they're not really there long. Maybe, like, a couple minutes they're there, at least in the span of the movie.
Yeah.
Then they're walking along next to the river, and you see this man just kind of sitting there. And for, like, when I first saw it, I thought he was a homeless man. But then he talks to them, and he's, like, just one of those kind of street performer type guys.
Yeah. Is the poem?
Yep. He asks for a word and says, give me a word and I'll write you a poem using that word, and if you like it, you can pay me. So, the word is milkshake. And I don't remember what the poem was, but it definitely sounded like he just plugged the word in to me, like what Jesse says. Like, it sounds like he just plugged the word in, but Celine says, I don't think he did. I think he actually made it up.
It's an actual poem.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know poetry.
Well, just looking. I was like, huh. Makes sense.
Mm.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about poetry, so.
I was like, I did take a little bit of a literature class in college, so that helps.
I don't remember if I did.
I didn't take it for very long, so I dropped it after a while. So I was like, I'm bored.
So then they're just still kind of like walking along, and they find this club and they go in. And they're playing pinball in this little place. It's more like a bar rather than a club.
Yeah. I was like, it reminds me of a bar.
They go into a couple of different bars. Because, like, the outside makes it look like a club, but then the inside, it's, like, more like a bar. Because they go into a couple of different ones.
Yeah. You're right.
But this one, they're playing pinball, and they finally ask each other if they're single.
You know, after wandering around the city with each other all damn day.
Yeah, like, it's halfway through the night. Like, it's probably 2 in the morning at this point.
And you finally ask each other.
Yeah.
I feel like that should have been one of, like, the first questions.
Yeah. Especially with what she admits later. Like, you should have asked if he was single first. Then they start talking about their exes, and she admits that she wrote this story about wanting to kill her ex, and I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah. Remember that.
Yeah. And he talks about how he is recently separated from his girlfriend. And that's why he's traveling.
Yeah, because she was ignoring him.
Yeah. So, yeah. Because, like, he went to visit her somewhere, and...
I think it was, like, Madrid or something.
Yeah, Madrid, that's it. And, she just had all these other guys around, and was basically paying more attention to them than to him, and they were supposed to be in a relationship, so...
So it's like, okay, bye.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm done. Then they're walking around again, and there's this belly dancer. And she goes off on some, like, random tangent about this. Well, I guess not really a tangent, because they're sitting there watching them. But about how it's, like, a birthing ritual or something that she's doing. I'm like, how in the world do you know that?
She's a strange, strange creature.
Yeah. Oh, so then they go to this little... Or we see this little restaurant, and they're in there, but we see a bunch of different conversations, and it's a few different languages that we hear. I couldn't pick them all out, but there's some French, I believe there's some Italian, there's some German, like, there's just a bunch of different languages that these people are all speaking. There's English. There's one where there's these three people, and this guy's like, where is the waitress? If we were in New York, this person would have been fired. And I was just like, that's the difference between America and other countries. Like, if you're a server in other countries, you don't really have to live off of tips.
Nope.
You live off of whatever the wage is, and then you get tips on the side, too.
Which it should be.
Yeah. Whereas in America, wages for servers are super, super low, and they have to live off of tips. So that's why people in other countries don't really care, because they are getting paid either way. Like, they're getting paid a good amount either way.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've never been to another country to see how service really is, but literally everything I've ever seen in other countries where they have some kind of server is the server's just kind of really laid back.
Oh, yeah. That's what I've seen, too.
But then, so we see Celine and Jesse, and they're, like, doing these conversations, like, where they're imitating the other's friend on the phone.
Yeah, I'm like, this is kind of stupid.
I was like, what in the world? This is, like, the most pointless part of their conversation the whole night. I mean, it made a little bit of sense because, like, the way Celine was doing it, she was, like, revealing how she felt, like she was actually talking to her friend. But Jesse just kind of seemed to not understand the point of this whole situation.
No, but that sounds about right for his character.
That's true.
Yeah.
Then they talk about how this is their only night together and they need to make the most of it and everything. And they go to another bar.
Yeah.
In this one, Jesse goes up and talks to the bartender and says that this is their only night together and that they're going to be separating in the morning, and he really wants to make the most of this night, and he doesn't have any money, but she wants a bottle of wine, and he's like, just give me the address and I'll pay you, like, I'll send you the money. And the bartender's like, you're going to send me the money? And he's got that, like, suspicious look, like, I don't believe you, but whatever.
You're like, yeah, it's late.
And while he's over there getting the wine, Celine's over there sitting at a table emptying glasses into another glass and stealing them.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's already going to give you wine that he's probably not going to get the money back for, and you're going to come over here and steal glasses?
Sounds like her.
Yeah. But so yeah, the bartender gives him the wine anyways, but I never saw him write down the address to the bar.
No.
So, he's not getting paid back for that bottle of wine. I really hope he gave him, like, the crappiest, cheapest bottle of wine he had.
I hope so, too. It is, like, really bad tasting.
Yeah.
But, of course, some cheap wines are really good. It just depends.
Yeah. It really does just depend. So then they end up in the park, and they're just kind of laying there, and I'm guessing they've already drank their wine, or they're in, because I don't see the wine. And they're talking about, like, how they want to sleep together, but they shouldn't sleep together.
In the middle of a park.
Yep. In the middle of the night.
Yep.
But this is where Celine admits that as soon as she decided to get off the train with him, she decided she wanted to sleep with him. And I'm like, then why didn't you ask him his name? Why didn't you ask him if he was single?
Nah, she's just gonna jump some random dude.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, they sleep together.
In the park.
Yep.
We gotta emphasize this, it's in the park.
Yep.
Public place.
In the park.
Yeah. I mean, that's great for some people, but others are like, what?
Yeah. So then it's the morning, and they're preparing to part because Jesse's plane is going to leave soon, and Celine is taking the train to France. So they're at the train station, and they agree to meet again. And then they're like, well, we can meet again in a year. And they're like, well, 5 years. And they're like, that's way too long.
No.
And then as they go down to a year, like, that's still too long.
6
how about
months.
6 months?
Yep.
She's like, well, it's going to be cold.
6 months. It's like, don't bitch.
Yeah.
6 months, same spot.
Yep. At 6 o'clock at night, I think it was. But, so she gets on the train and everything, and we don't see what happens to him. We're guessing, based on the second one, that he flies home.
Yeah.
And we just see, like, a little montage of all the places they visited.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
An hour and 40 minutes later.
Yep. So the music for this is composed by Fred Frith. He is known for The Party from 2017, Orlando from 1992, and Yes from 2004. He didn't compose any of that music. He was just part of the music department. So he was orchestrator, arranger, soloist, something like that. He just played. He got his start on Song of the Shirt in 1979, and he played the guitar for that music.
Huh. Interesting. I mean,
So
the music was pretty good. That's it for this film. It wasn't distracting. It went with the mood of the scenes and everything.
Yeah, it was just kind of there. Like, not really over the top or anything. Not really intrusive. Just there when you needed it, not there when you didn't.
That's true.
So comparison, this is a trilogy. The second one we already talked about is before Sunset.
Before Sunset.
They meet again.
In Paris.
Yep.
It was by accident, actually.
Yeah.
Because they were supposed to meet in Vienna, and it didn't really happen.
Yeah, they never actually did, and then they run into each other by accident in France. And it's 10 years later or something like that at that point?
Before Sunset.
Because I think that one came out in 2005.
2004, but yeah, it's about 9-10 years later.
Yeah. So, then the third one, I watched that one.
Yeah, no.
They are married in the third one. And they're just kind of having a shitty relationship. Because it's funny, because they had talked about it in the beginning of this one about how you're going to be, in 15 years, you're married, and you have an unhappy relationship, this, that, and the other. And then that actually comes true. They're 90% of the movie in Before Midnight, they're mad at each other.
Ugh. A mess.
That's all I can remember, because it's been a few months since I watched the third one, and I didn't really like it, so.
Oh, yeah.
Trivia? Got anything?
So, like I mentioned earlier, the poem is an actual poem. It's written for the film, though, by a poet named David Jewell. Yeah, cool, right? I mean, there's really not much. So, most of the screenplay was rewritten by Julie and Ethan to make it more towards them, more their style and everything, and they never got credit for it.
Yeah, I remember they were mad about not getting credit, but then
For
the
this
second
film.
and third one, they did get credit for.
Yeah. And there's not much for this film. It really isn't. The only
I
one...
know where... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know where the director got the idea, because the director wrote it.
Go ahead.
He got the idea from... he was in a toy store and he met a woman and they spent the rest of the day together just kind of talking.
Yeah. And it was written, the screenplay was written in 11 days. So,
Well, I mean,
that's
if you
actually
already-
pretty quick for a screenplay.
Yeah, as I say, I mean, if you already have the idea for it based on something that you did, it's not really that big of a deal. And this is just a lot of dialogue.
It is.
So.
It's so much dialogue. God.
Which is funny because I literally have one line that I liked.
One.
Yep. But we'll get to that in a minute. Do you have any other trivia?
Nope.
Alright. So where it has been on the list before, the first time it was on the list was in 2014. Well, from when we count it. I don't know about before that.
Yeah.
So 2014, it was number 215, and then it dropped off the list for a little bit, and then back on the list in 2018 at number 205, and then as of today when we are recording, it is at number 208.
Huh.
Or no, number 202, my bad.
It went up?
Yeah, just a little bit.
The hell?
Like,
why did it go up?
So previously, number 208, the 2010 list, The Passion of Joan of Arc from 1928, which is on our list. The 2012 list, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance from 1962. The 2014 list, 12 Monkeys from 1995, which was previously on our list. The 2016 list, Jurassic Park from 1993, which is coming up in the next few months.
Yeah.
I think we got about 15 or so movies between now and then. 2018, Prisoners from 2013, which was on our list previously.
Yeah, just a little bit ago.
Yeah, just about 5 movies, I think. And then as of today, when we are recording, the 400 Blows is from 1959, which is coming up in about 5 movies.
Yeah, it is.
So, favorite line. I only have one. I haven't killed anyone lately. That's the only one I liked. It's funny, in a movie full of dialogue, that's the only line I liked.
Jeez. I really like, actually, the poem. I think that's probably, like, my favorite part. Quote-wise.
That's long.
It is long. No, but there's, like, a certain part that I like. You have no idea where I come from. You have no idea where we're going.
Yeah.
That's the part I like.
That's a good one.
But I like the whole poem, actually. Just from one word, you make a poem. I thought that was cool.
You gotta be talented for that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I am, I'm not putting the whole poem.
Oh, I know. But that's the line I liked. You have no idea where I came from. We have no idea where we're going.
Alright, we'll go with that one.
Okay.
Because mine is just kind of a random thing.
Mine makes kind of sense about the movie.
It does. So. Mine is just kind of a random, like, what in the world? So, we'll go with that one.
Okay.
What is your rating for this?
I'm giving it a 4.
Okay.
A 4.
That's what
Mostly
I did
because
too.
of just dialogue and It's actually the best one out of the trilogy.
Yeah.
It is. It's the best one.
Yeah. I'm giving it a 4 as well. I did like the acting because the two of them just made it seem very natural in this one. Just kind of like they were literally just having a conversation out of the blue. Not that it was scripted at all. Even though I do know the whole thing was scripted. Like, they just made it seem like it was improv the whole time. Like, they were just going on and on. The story is really, really boring.
Yeah.
I can see why younger people like this, because, I feel like because I'm already married by the time I've watched this, I don't really care about meeting someone for the first time anymore. Like, I don't really care. I feel like if I was single when I watched this, it probably would have been a little bit more meaningful to me, because it'd been like, oh, that's kind of cool. They're meeting for the first time, and they like each other, and they're gonna meet again. Like, woo.
Yeah, okay. I can see that angle. I can.
Like, I feel like being single watching this is a little bit more important than being married and watching it.
Yeah, I feel like that should be part of the thing, too. Like, the demographic.
Yeah.
That they take a part of. Because they already do the age and the gender. Why don't you just do, like, relationship status? That would be interesting to see. Especially with romance films.
Yeah. The way they shot it, like the long sequences of them talking, I liked the way it was shot. Even though it's just literally like long sequences of them talking, it's still shot really well because they've got a good 15-minute scene where they're on the bus talking and just riding around. But yeah, it's a romance. I'm not really big on romance.
Same, actually. There's like very few romance films that I actually like.
Yeah. So our next film is Amores Perros from 2000, and it is in Spanish. It is available on Netflix if you have a subscription. It is available on Vudu for free at the moment. I'm not sure if it will be by the time we get there. And I think one other place it was available. Hold on one second. And it is available on Tubi TV, I guess, for free as well. So those are the places you can get it pretty much for free. I mean, you have to pay for Netflix, but if you have Netflix already, you don't have to pay to watch it. But yeah, that'll be next week. Premium, we are offering premium. If you pay for premium, you will get uncut episodes, early release episodes, and a special monthly episode. All of that for $1 a month. For $5 a month, you will be able to get all of that. Plus, you will be able to pick a movie of your choice to join us for every 50 movies. Our special monthly episode for April is going to be another actor or director from our list that each of us like.
Yep.
I have picked mine. It's going to be a director. I'm going to do Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I'm doing an actor. I'm going to do Michael Keaton.
Okay. And that will be out by the end of April.
Yeah.
And also in April, we are going to be having our Disney event, where we're going to each pick 2 of our favorite Disney movies that aren't on the list, and we'll talk about those. Mine are Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, and Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet.
And mine are Aladdin and Princess and the Frog.
And that will be out by the end of April as well. If you could leave us a written review, let us know how we're doing. That would be great. If you do leave us a review, if it's a positive one, you'll be entered into our contest for a chance to be able to come onto the show. But please do leave us a review. It helps us out. Lets us know if we need to change anything. Because at the moment, I'm just gonna keep doing, we're just gonna keep doing the same thing because nobody's told us any differently, so.
Exactly. We're just gonna keep going, plowing through. When someone's saying, hey, you should do this, or do this something different, we'll be like, okay.
Yeah. Just give us suggestions, let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you think we should do. Other than that, if you want to get in contact with us, we are everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can email us.
Yes, please go and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Yes. We are trying to reach a goal of 1,000.
Yes.
Trying.
Our music is by Audiobinger, and you can find him on Facebook, YouTube, and his website, audiobinger.net.
Yeah, he's working on some new stuff, so he'll be out in a little while.
Always putting new stuff out. I think that's all we have for Before Sunrise, so we will catch you next time with Amoris Perils.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.